Hey guys, King of Charmanders here. Today I'll be your judge, your jury, and your analyst. And just like your Windows update, hopefully you've updated Windows because there was actually an update not too long ago, and hopefully it's working fine. Unlike Go Battle League, which is lagging still very bad for some odd reason. Anyways, as I always say, please consider contributing to TVPoke.com because today I have for you the top 5 teams of the Ultra League Remix, okay? There's only 2 remixes, Great League Remix and Ultra League Remix, and this one will feature the top 5 teams for the Ultra League Remix. So Ultra League Remix is really weird. As in, it's like, yeah, it was very weird. If you look at the list, a lot of the teams that made it were actually teams that weren't used by a lot of people. In other words, when you see this, when you open up the screen, when you see this and it's orange, that basically means like one person was simming it. So they really liked that one team, and that one team for them as they practiced, and they soared through the AI. It's statistically ranked much better than all the other teams. So again, when it's orange like that, that means not a lot of people are actually using this team, or one person was using the team. Without further ado, let's get started. The good thing is the number 1 team wasn't used by one particular person, and it's actually pretty cheap. Anyways, I'll get to that in a bit. Without further ado, let's get started. So team number 5 is Jellicent, Manabuzz, and Galarian Stunfisk. Yes, they are all extra large. Would you like some fries with that, good sir? Or ma'am? Or whichever one you identify as. It is, yeah. I knew Jellicent and G-Fisk would be good. Our Manabuzz just has a good safe switch, but this team is really, really generic. Seriously. It has its amazing coverage, bulk, and safety, and you have good consistency. G-Fisk or Manacuz can actually operate as your safe switch, but G-Fisk is statistically the strongest safe switch in Ultra League Remix, so I would use good G-Fisk. And then you also have Jellicent. This is the Bubble Beam Jellicent. You fire bubbles. If you've ever watched Finding Nemo, you know the bubble chest. Yes, this is your bubbles, and you fire bubbles. How do bubbles hurt though? Because you know when you pop bubbles, like you can literally like pelvic thrust into a bubble and like it does no damage in real life. But this is Pokemon, so yeah, Pokemon logic. Anyways, as you see, Manabuzz has Snarl. It doesn't have Air Slash. You can use Air Slash. It really just depends. Like either one works. It kind of just depends on which scenario you face. Air Slash has more coverage against fighters, but seeing as you have Jellicent, you don't really need it that much. And even though Manabuzz has Snarl, you could still come out with some win conditions. Very good against the overall meta with every team that has an A for coverage. And it has 3 very powerful, holistic, extra large Pokemon that all can die to Typhlosion. Remember how, for those of you that have watched my videos, I've said Typhlosion is an incredibly powerful budget pick. There you go. There you go. You see, Typhlosion melts all 3 of these. Not in the 2 shield though. So Typhlosion in the 2 shield can't actually wipe Jellicent unless you bait both shields with Blast Burn. Or if you just do what I do, and you just totally just get beamed through shields. So you see the shining light in the sky, it goes up in the star, it goes up into the air or the space like the Death Star, and Death Star fires, wiping out an entire planet. I really hope not, because Typhlosion's beam should not be that strong. If that happens one day, then Pokemon World gone. Anyways, as you see here, other than Typhlosion being able to core break this entire team, and of course just anything that Jellicent has a weakness to, as in Umbreon, Dark types in general, some Ghost types, for example, like Ghost, let's see. You technically lose to Drifblim in this meta, and Gengar is also very dangerous just because of its pressure. So just keep that in mind. But as you see here, Jellicent is very strong in the lead, and you have 3 very powerful and obscenely thick extra large Pokemon. I knew Jellicent and G-Fisk would be good together. I put it in my top teams. I didn't know Manabuzz with it. Well, it's just essentially double safe switch. It is very powerful with a very low threat score of 609. So if you have all 3 of these mons, statistically it's very powerful and can do very well for you in the great, I keep saying it, Ultra League Remix. Alright, for the next team, I forgot to mention, this team has a 561 rating. So it's a little higher than the other ones, but it's, you know, remember how I was talking about how Drifblim's good? Well, Drifblim is very powerful in the lead. This features Drifblim lead, G-Fisk safe switch, and remember I told you how Venusaur is good in the back? Well, Oh, well, it's good in the back. As you see here, this is the only team out of the top 5 that actually features Venusaur, and Venusaur is still very powerful as long as you have great energy management. If you in a lot of scenarios when I've trained with Venusaur in the back for Ultra League Remix, as long as you have energy in the back, you can wipe out a lot of things. As you see here, Driplim is an incredibly powerful lead, being able to ball out, literally ball out, absolutely ball out. You will be hitting 3-pointers, you will be balling against, well, not Meta-chans, but you know, like, whatever you wish to ball out upon, and then it will KO your opponent, hopefully KO your opponent. I've had times where my Shadow Balls didn't KO and I'm like, they lived. Well, I learned something. You know, you learn something new every day. Anyways, this does feature G-Fist Safe Switch, and then Venusaur does close out. You lose lead with Driplim, Safe Switch into G-Fist, break as many shields as you can, try to realign with Venusaur, farm down, get as much energy, and hopefully Driplim in the back can close out. In Ultra League Remix, or just in Ultra League in general, Driplim XL is very bulky and has a fantastic moveset, so hopefully it will get you that W need. As you see here, this team actually has better ratings. Well, not really better ratings, but it has great consistency, bulk, and safety, and amazing coverage. So this is a very, very powerful team. 2 XLs coupled with one of the most powerful Community Day Pokemon of all time in Ultra Premier Cup, which is now the Ultra Premier Classic, coming up in a couple of weeks. Anyways, we'll talk about that. I'll make content on that later. Anyways, as you see here, as with A-Wood coverage, it is incredibly powerful. With your only weakness literally being ice types. Well, ice types is whatever Driplim is weak to in the lead is going to be your core breakers. You likely will not see a lot of Pylo or Mamoswine. Those are only really good in Master League. If you see one using it, that's incredibly spicy, and I applaud your creativity, because I like bacon. I too like bacon. As you see here, we got Mandiba. You also lose to Mandibas. Jellicent can beat you, but it really just depends. That's a very bait dependent matchup when you have in the 2 shield. And like I mentioned, Gengar does have a lot of charge move pressure, so Driplim does go down in the lead. So you lose lead, switch into G-Fist, Venusaur can close out, or switch into G-Fist, hopefully win switch, or break as much shields as you can, do as much damage, farm out with Venusaur, and then close out with Driplim in the back. This team has a little bit of a higher threat score, but just because there are a lot more targets that can hit Driplim, just because Driplim shares that flying type. Alright, next up we got Mewtwo, Armored Mewtwo, the really crappy version. You know, okay, I'm gonna have like a 30-second gripe real quick. The Armored Mewtwo looks like crap. It's absolute garbage. It looks like a freaking Decepticon, and it's like they wanted to redesign Mewtwo, and they're like, alright, let's just throw a bunch of armor at it. It literally looks like a huge Decepticon. You couldn't have just left the OG, like, armor from way long ago. For those of you in the 90s babies and the millennial generation, you know Mewtwo used to look a lot cooler than this one. This one is just really so extra. It's like Whitney Houston or whatever went to a concert and was like, give me the most flamboyant dress you can get. Anyways, enough about me. This team ranked about at 561. Actually ranked at the same as the previous one. It does only feature 1 XL, but it also features 1 Legendary. So pick your poison at how much dust you want to spend. Or if you already have these builds, they're literally the same rating. In my opinion, I like the last one better. I like the Venusaur team better just because it has more pressure. As you see here, when you go scroll down, this team just has more bulk and more consistency, and it just does more damage. It still has great coverage and safety. It's still a fantastic team just because all 3 of these mons are particularly bulky. Well, they're very bulky, except for Excavalier. Excavalier does have a lot of resistances in this meta, though. As you see here, it does very well against the overall meta for Ultra League Remix. And as you see here, it does, well, here's the thing. With Armored Mewtwo, even though it's very powerful and very tanky, has great coverage for typing, Confusion can still get destroyed by, as you see here, Confusion can still, like, yeah, it's a very weird mon to use in Ultra League Remix, because you die to G-Fist, Mandibuzz still can wipe you, Deoxys defense loves you because of its pressure. Counter will allow Deoxys defense to get more energy, that's why it can beat you in the 2 shield. And then you have Masqueri, and especially if you're using the standard Mewtwo where you have Dynamic Punch and Psychic. I believe this one doesn't feel... No, yeah, this is the Oil Psy Strike, yeah. As you see here, you do technically get walled by other Psychic types. So that's what makes Armored Mewtwo very interesting. What makes Ardor Mewtwo very powerful in the 2 shield is it's able to break shields, and Dynamic Punch does have coverage against some dark types, like Scrafty. You don't have coverage against Mana Buzz, but Dynamic Punch still kind of hurts. Not really, but hopefully you can come out with a match. I think the basis for this team is that if you lose the lead, say Switch and Excavalier, hopefully you can close out with Umbreon. Umbreon has been very powerful in the back for Ultra League Remix lately. Or you just sack Mewtwo in the lead, do as much damage as you can, then close out, farm down Excavalier and Umbreon in the back. This team has a relatively high threat score, like 650 for the Ultra League Remix is like medium. This one's above that. That's why I told you I don't really like this team that much, just because Armor Mewtwo is very clunky, and I don't like, unless it's like Gallade or you're using it for a safe switch to break shields a lot, I don't like Armor Mewtwo too much. As you see, I'm very personally biased and professionally biased. Despite that, this team still does very powerful and still had a 561 rating. And only one person was using it. So someone went really creative and was like, I really want to break Mewtwo into the Ultra League Remix. For those that had told you that American Muscle was gonna be good in this cup, or in the lead, as you see, at the number 2 team, at the rating of 562, which isn't really that high compared to the other top 5, Pidgeot, the Burb that is unbanned, is now incredibly powerful in, well, it's powerful in both leagues, but in the Ultra League Remix, it's actually one of the top 2 teams. With Pidgeot, Politoed, and Machamp. This team is super... You know, I put Pidgeot and Machamp together, I believe, in one of my top teams, but the Politoed one is just like, okay. Because Politoed is still an insanely good safe switch. Even though Politoed has been... Even though Weather Ball is nerfed, the damage is barely unnoticeable. Well, it's noticeable if you're firing off like 15 of them. But if you're firing off like 3 or 4 of them in the long run, unless it's like 1 HP in a dream and very IV dependent, you're not going to find a lot of... You're not going to live against a lot of Weather Balls. Balls will still ball out, and you will get hit with a bunch of 3-pointers. It'll look like the 50, 40, 90. If you are a basketball fan, you know exactly what statistic I'm talking about. Anyways, this team does have Politoed safe switch, Machamp closes out in the back, Pidgeot lead. Great coverage, great safety, great consistency. Not a lot of bulk just because you know it's Machamp. For those of you who watch my videos, you put Machamp in almost any team, Machamp will drop your bulk rating faster than your elo whenever you lag to go battle lag. I wish that wasn't as true as I say, because it's been affecting me a lot, man. I hope you guys are doing well. Anyways, Pidgeot is a very powerful lead because it's able to do a lot of damage and resist all the ghost types. As you see here, Pidgeot is able to wipe a lot of the meta, unless it's like steel types or that resists flying type attacks. Literally, as you see here, it blasts through so many combinations. That, or you can debuff in the lead, force your opponent to switch out, and hopefully you have a very good matchup. Politoed will be your safe switch, break as many shields as you can, swap in, hopefully you can farm down with Machamp and Pidgeot to close out in the back. This team does have a, well, it's not really, this team is actually has a lot of coverage. Yes, it has a 653 threat score, but it's actually lower than the other one from before. Hear me out. The reason why is because you're not going to find electric types a lot. You can still find Ampharos in the Ultra League Remix. You can still find it. But Pidgeot is still an incredibly powerful lead, being able to wipe out a majority of the I would say popular league patterns as of right now in Ultra League Remix. So it's still very, very powerful, as you see here. There's a reason why it's a top lead and why this team made it into the top 2. Again, you lose the lead, safe switch into Politoed, and then Machamp closes out. Yes, this features a double XL team. I don't like that it's XL, but you know what? It's what it is. The good thing is we got 4-arm Goro back in the top 2, so it's a good time if you decide to use this team and you play it well. And last but not least, I was actually really excited to analyze this team because it only features one XL that happens to be very accessible, or it literally just had a community day. This features Excavalier lead, Gyarados, and Umbreon. I'm pretty sure Gyarados is your safe switch here, or you just sack Excavalier in the lead. Either way, if you see a Talonflame or if you see a fire type, run in the lead. But this team did stand at 571. 571 is incredibly high rating, and it has a 0.6% usage. So not one person was using this. This is actually a pretty, not super popular team, but it is a good team out there, which is actually very accessible. Yes, it does feature 2 community day mons, as in Umbreon and Gyarados. However, with Excavalier and Gyarados, this is actually much cheaper than the rest of the combinations in the top 5. Actually, it is the cheapest out of top 5. As you see here, unfortunately, this team only has good coverage, great bulk safety, and consistency. The reason why it only has good coverage is just because this team isn't exactly going to cover a lot of combinations. I think it banks mostly on what the current combination is right now, or you can find a lot of win cons with this team. Excavalier does very well, and so does Umbreon is very good for Ultra League Remix in the back, like I mentioned. Which is why we have Thick Brayon in the back. Very big booty, very thick legs, and it is one of the most popular Pokemon, not only in Just Go Battle League, but in the Pokemon franchise itself. As you see here, it's decent against all the entire meta. It's just Excavalier with counter. Ghost types are very popular in Ultra League Remix. So, with that being said, as you see, Excavalier has a little bit of a problem with that. As you see here, the potential threats with your team are basically whatever resist fighting types. Fire as well, you have to be very careful with fire. Also with Excavalier in the 2 shield is a little tricky to play. As you see here, this is only the 1 shield analysis, but it's not the true 2 shield. If you have to run your lead against the Matrix in order to get an accurate rating on Team Builder. So this is the 0 and 1s, but that doesn't say Excavalier is still pretty dang decent, and with Megahorn you can possibly KO Umbreons at certain ranges, so just keep that in mind. This team does have a very high threat score at 691. However, if played well, I've tested it a little bit, and it actually is very, very strong. Excavalier is able to deal a lot of damage in the lead with Drill Run Megahorn. You're also able to bully those G-Fists. And if you happen to see a Registeel lead, which I encountered once, so I was like, well, hello, good trash can. Die. And yeah. And then you have Gyarados in the back as a safe switch. This is a Waterfall Gyarados, though. You're not using Dragon Breath. Waterfall Gyarados in Ultra League Remix is a lot more powerful just because you do get stabbed, and Waterfall does do a lot of chunk damage. And then you have Umbreon in the back, which is very powerful, again, in the closing scenario, or if you're able to lock Umbreon against a Ghost type. This team did statistically run at 572, so if you're struggling to find a team, this team might work for you very well. I like how it's cheap. I like how Umbreon is in the back, just because I really like Umbreon in Ultra League, because it's so godforsakenly thick. Big Booty Umbreon will get you the dubs in the Ultra League Remix, and it's the top team at 571. And that's GG's. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. It's cool to see that the top team only features 1 XL, but there's no denying that XLs do dominate the Ultra League Remix, or more commonly known as the XL Cup, which is basically Open Master League and just Premier Cup, Ultra Premier Cup in general nowadays. But XLs do dominate, and they do run through the Ultra League Remix as well. These teams are very, very powerful. As you see, a lot of key mons that I've literally put in a lot of my teams are very strong. And again, with the Ultra League Remix, there was only 10 Pokemon banned instead of 20. The 10 bans they gave you actually didn't affect the meta that much, but it also allowed for more budget picks, which is why you saw Venusaur in the top teams. It was also in my top budget team as well. As you see, Venusaur in the back is very, very strong, like I mentioned, so it's a great budget pick. But, unfortunately, as with any cup, when you don't ban, like, the top 100, it gets really stale still, because so many combinations are still allowed. Yes, you can make Legend without using XLs. I've done it before plenty of times before XL existed. However, that doesn't deny the fact that Community Day moves, most people that make it without XLs have Community Day move mons are using Shadow Pokemon. I saw one person with a post, or someone mentioned it to me, it was a Shadow Champ. It was a Shadow Champ, a Swampert, and something else. It's still Legacy, it's still Community. The barrier entry is too high. You need to lower that if you want Pokemon going to be a big esport, because the barrier to entry is too high. What that means is that it takes way too much effort to become competitive, and it just shows with just how the top teams really make up a whole bunch of XLs in the Ultra League Remix. Hopefully you guys are doing well. If you do have these mons, these teams can serve you well if you're having a little bit of trouble. Hopefully they do help you climb in the Season 9 Ultra League Remix. I'll be putting out ABB teams. There are some ABB combinations from Ultra League Remix that work. And I'll be putting out the Open Ultra League teams from top 5 very, very soon. More like tomorrow. Anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. I will see you guys next time. If you could do me a huge favor, please like and subscribe. It's totally free. You can easily subscribe by putting your mouse to that bottom right box. You see a little T box, put your mouse over it, subtitle pops. You can easily sub from there. My current subscribers, I really do appreciate you. I wish all of you good luck on your battles. It's a very laggy and hellacious season. Literally, I can't compete. I know you guys been asking my battles, but it's very hard to compete just because I can't play. That's literally what I can't play most of the time, which really sucks. But hopefully it's working out for you. Hopefully you guys are doing much better than your previous seasons, and you're way ahead than you thought you would expect in Season 9. Good luck on your Go Battle League sets, and I will see you guys on the next video.
Ciao!